afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. There we go. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your midday market report for Thursday, July 28th, 2022. Yes, the weekend is almost here. Yes, there is a great UFC card, two title fights. No, not in Vegas behind me at the Bellagio/T-Mobile, but in Dallas. And we are blessed, honored to have the UFC expert who it's his birthday today. So that makes it even more special for him to give us some time to talk to you guys and break down these upcoming fights. So without further ado, let's bring him in. The one and only Mr. Zayd Hussein.
What's
Good
up?
afternoon.
Good.
Good. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'd love to come on here and talk, and it's a great time, and I can't wait to get started with the show today.
Yes, you came on maybe about a month ago when you were live in Vegas for the fights. First time you debuted with us, and obviously you're back, and you will be back to stay. Tough card overall that weekend. We talked behind the scenes on last weekend. Nice 2-0 day, smashed them both. Before we get in and dig into the meat and potatoes, I talked to you a month ago. I talked to you 2 weeks ago. I think what I'm about to say, people are starting to see, and I have said this about Amanda Nunes, who the first fight was like minus 900, and Miss Pena shocks the world with the win, and now we're here for the rematch. I follow Amanda. I follow her on TikTok, and as I said to you, every post on TikTok, she's sponsoring something. She's doing something for something. Wake up this morning, and now Amanda's only minus 265 and dropping. Is everyone else seeing the same thing, Zayd?
I think, me personally, everybody's on the wrong side if they're taking Pena. Amanda Nunes was in a spot where, like you said, sponsorships. I feel like she overlooked Pena at times, and we saw in the first round of that fight, if you remember, Amanda Nunes completely dominated that fight the whole first round. She looked like she was minus 3,000 in there. And then we've seen her having problems with the gas tank in her career, but it never really mattered to a point like how it affected her in that last fight because Pena had the cardio. It was like Rocky versus Drago in there. I mean, she was getting beat up. She came back and she won the fight. I think it's going to be completely different. Overall, in my eyes, when I assess this fight, Amanda's the better wrestler. Amanda's the better grappler, and Amanda's a better striker. And I think she's going to come into this fight way more calculated than she was in the previous, and she's going to look like an even bigger favorite. I think she could look upwards of minus 1,000, like how she was priced in the last fight. And I think right now, if you could get Amanda Nunes at minus 265, you should jump all over it.
And I'm going to compare to champs. When you fought Mike Tyson, okay, if he hit you and he saw the fear, the deer in the headlights, you're done. You're hurt. He knows he's going to walk through you. Pena said to herself, like you said, let me get through the first round. Okay. So I said this to Andrew earlier in the show. I'm going to say this to you. Am I crazy to take the dog here, but also throw some beer and pizza money on Amanda on a first round knockout?
I think if you do that, you have a possibility of losing both. You know what I think Amanda does here? I mean, the thing is, like, Pena at that price, what are you getting? You're getting plus 240, plus 230. It's just, it's not worth it in my opinion. Honestly, when I look at this fight, I think Amanda Nunes is going to come calculated. She's not going to be throwing haymakers like how she was. We saw her gas out in the second round, and what did she do when she was gassing? She started throwing harder, and she started emptying the tank even more, and it led to her being finished. I mean, that choke wasn't even under her neck, and she tapped out. It was like just instantaneously tap. When she got her back, she was done. She just did not want to be in there. I could see a wrestle-heavy approach by Amanda Nunes. I could see her taking her down, grinding her out, and being able to just lay and pray is what we say in the MMA world, for a good 3-4 rounds and take control of the fight. And I could see her winning by a unanimous decision. That's my pet to victory for Amanda, and that's what I think that she will have is a wrestling approach, stick and move, stand outside, not get into a dogfight like how Pena wants it to be, because that's what she's gonna want. She's gonna want it to get ugly. She's gonna want it to get close. She's gonna want just chaos, and Amanda Nunes is gonna come too calculated for that chaos, and it's gonna be too much for her on Saturday night.
And a lot of the experts, listen, I am not the expert. So a lot of the experts find extreme value. When are you going to get an Amanda Nunes at such a low price, especially now coming off of a loss there? So I can't disagree. Like I said, in my lanes, this is starting to shape up as Pena being the public trendy dog now.
Yes. And like you mentioned, people maybe wanting to take a flyer on Amanda knockout round 1, but Pena, I mean, she got a chin. People don't realize she's a warrior. She's not going to go down from a couple of haymakers. Like, she's going to stay in there. We saw like how she did, and she's going to try to make this fight crazy. I just think the approach from Amanda is going to be different than the last fight, and it's not going to be where she's trying to take her out. She's going to just outclass her in this fight. And I think over 5 rounds, we're going to see how good she really is, and it's going to lead to just a dominant unanimous decision victory.
All right. I didn't want to steal the headlines. That was just off the top of my head. What I am going to do, like we did last time, is I'm going to pass the card over to you. I got DraftKings to the right. I got Don Best to the left. You can break down all what you're seeing in these fights, props, under, overs, leans. The stage is yours, Zayd.
Thank you. Now, for me I'm just going to go over what I like in this card and what I really see that sticks out to me. Starting off, the biggest favorite of the card, Michael Morales. He's coming in right now at minus 650 to minus 700 in different places. I think right now he's at minus 650 on FanDuel against Adam Fugit. This is a fight Adam took on very, very short notice. He's a new UFC signee. People think that he's coming into this fight as a guy that's just going to get knocked out. Morales is a Dana White Contender Series alumni. He's looked great. He defeated Trevin Giles shortly, maybe about less than a year ago. He looked dominant in his victories. He looks fast. He's a young kid. People are counting Adam out in this fight, and I think it's very wrong to do. I think when you look at Michael, he's minus 650, but he doesn't have so much experience. Like, he's still a young guy. He's still learning. Adam is while he's a new UFC comer, he's a 5-time Muay Thai champion. He's coming into this fight. Somebody taking a fight on 2-3 days notice and short notice is not coming into this fight thinking they're going to lose. They're coming in with confidence if you're going to take a fight on short notice like this, especially in the UFC. And, I think Adam, after watching him in the regional scene, he has knockout power. While his stand-up isn't the best, and maybe he's not obviously the favorite here at minus 650, I don't think the number is correct. I think Morales should come at around minus 450 to minus 300. I could see Adam possibly knocking him out. This is a fight where overall the line just doesn't add up to me. And I wouldn't be opposed to taking a flyer on Adam here as the biggest dog of the card, because he has the Muay Thai experience. He has a little bit of wrestling to be able to defend. And he was a high school wrestler. He wrestled a little bit in college. Overall, Adam is a fighter that's live in this fight. And to count him out is crazy. And minus 650, like I said, is a crazy line. I love in this fight the under 1.5 rounds. I think someone will go to sleep here. Adam, like I said, in the regional scene, has a very kick-heavy approach. He throws a lot of kicks. He throws a lot of volume. Michael Morales, same thing. He's quick. He throws a lot of volume. I think someone gets put to sleep here in this fight. And I think with the upside knockout power that Adam has, it's worth taking a flyer on him, but it is also worth taking as a best bet of under 1.5 rounds in this fight at minus 125. You could get it right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at Don Best right now. I can get Adam at plus 440.
Okay. Yes, I like a flyer on that. I think him by KO is very interesting. If he's going to win this fight, he will catch him, I believe. And I like the under. If he gets slept, he gets slept here. But overall, one of these guys are going to go to sleep. And that minus 650 line is too wide to me, in my opinion.
Okay.
And now moving on. Any thoughts on that? I mean, I don't know if you been able to just see. That's the biggest. I was shocked he was the biggest favorite of the card. I mean, not a lot of people know Adam, and just I do a lot of regional scene watching. I watch the fighters. I see how they come up, what their tendencies are, and I think he's live.
Well, I think the number said it. Like you said, he's taken this on 2-3 days notice. So, I mean, obviously he was training already. They're thinking it's too short a notice. Morales' resume may be a little stronger. I mean, I'm just looking at here. Let me find it again. You got Morales at 13-0 versus Adam at 7-2. So I mean, just strictly numbers, and that's why Don Best, Vegas, whoever set these numbers at this, the general public and the DJs are just flocking to a 13-0, and also a guy that's taking a fight on 2 or 3 days' notice.
Yes, and I think a lot of people are going to look at Michael Morales. They're going to throw him in the parlays. They're going to add in, oh, this guy's a lock. He's minus 650, biggest bet of the night. And they're just going to throw him in. And I could see an upset happening. If Adam does have the power to clip him and put him to sleep, I see it. I see it this weekend. So it's worth a flyer. It really is. Moving on to the second title fight, Brandon Moreno versus Kai Kara-France. This was a fight that is a rematch. Took place a while back. Brandon Moreno and Kai Kara-France have both since come a very, very long way. Kai Kara-France most recently just defeated Askar Askarov. He struggled early on in his career with defending takedowns, being on the ground, but we saw in his last fight, Askar Askarov is very, very dangerous on the ground. He takes people's backs. He's able to hold them down, and he's able to fight a fight that he likes. And overall, sorry, we get a little call here.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Connected to my laptop. But Kara-France overall is a fighter that has evolved so much. And we saw Brandon Moreno take on Davison Figueiredo, who is one of the best, the last 2-3 years, just fighting him over and over again in rematches. But Kai Kara-France is a fighter that is going to be able to avoid bringing this fight to the ground. Moreno's going to shoot, and he has great defense. We saw in his last fight, like I said, with Askar Askarov. Him on the feet he's just been evolving as a fighter with City Kickboxing. He's training with the guys like Israel Adesanya, Alexander Volkanovski, all these fighters. Kai Kara-France is in the gym with absolute killers, and he's going to have a power advantage in this fight. There's no question about it. We saw him against Cody Garbrandt. He was able to cut the cage off. He was able to land some power shots and put him away. I think he's a live underdog in this fight as well. His defense is going to be able to hold up to avoid going to the ground, and I like him at plus 180 as an underdog. I believe you could get him at plus 180 at FanDuel right now, if that's correct.
That's correct.
Yes, I like Kara-France in this fight. I think he has the tools to get the job done, and I think we will see New on Saturday.
The under over 4.5 over minus 163, so they're expecting this to go the distance.
Yes, I think if you're betting Moreno, you are betting on the fight going the distance. Moreno, I don't think has the tools to put him away. Maybe he gets a choke if he does get him to the ground, but I just don't see that happening. I think Kai Kara-France's takedown defense has come a very, very long way, and overall, he's going to be able to keep the fight standing. And if someone's going to put some away in this fight, I believe it'll be Kara-France by knockout rather than Moreno by decision. So overall, I think you take Kara-France at plus 180. If you're betting on the under, in my opinion, you're betting on Kara-France. If you're betting on the over, you're betting on Moreno. Just the pets and victories overall in that fight. Now, moving on. We discussed Nunes and Pena, and I think with the line movement of that fight, like you said, I mean, right now, where does it sit at on DraftKings? Because it's been all over the place for me. I looked, it was minus 310 earlier today on FanDuel, unless I'm wrong.
No. And again, there was movement. Superbook put out last night, Zayd, 285 for Amanda. This morning, woke up, I'm looking at it right now, 265 on DraftKings for Amanda, and Julia is plus 225.
Wow, yeah, I'm seeing right now. Wow, FanDuel, this is weird. FanDuel has it right now. Amanda minus 295 and Pena plus 220. That's a wide gap there. They're going to eat up a lot of money there. That's a strong. I haven't seen like that in a while. Price like that.
That's free money for FanDuel.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's crazy. I haven't seen something like that in a very long time, honestly. 220 to 295 on the. Damn, FanDuel is killing everybody right now. Go to DraftKings.
So I'll move that one over to Don Best here. Yeah, actually now Amanda 273, Pena 218. So they got their 55 cent middle there. 260 at Westgate, 255 at William Hill, 255 at Caesars. An under over 2.5 over minus 5 cents, 2.5 under, minus 15 cents.
Interesting. It's all over the place, and I think Amanda could get it done a variety of ways. Amanda by decision right now is plus 460. Amanda by KO plus 125. Amanda by submission plus 500. I think she could get it done a variety of ways. Overall, I think if you're going to bet on Amanda Nunes, you just bet on her on the money line and you lay the chalk of the 265 or 255. You look for your best number. You shop the lines. You get the best possible number you could get before the fight, and you book Amanda Nunes. You take that bet. I think overall, it's going to be hard to represent Pena as a plus 220 or plus 230 favorite. It's not worth putting $100 to win 220 or 230 or 240. It's not the right price for me. I think the minus 900 is similar to what I think we will see fight night, and that's why you have to bet Amanda Nunes in this fight.
And I like to look at this way. When they fought the first time, was minus 900 and Pena was plus 600. You didn't jump on it then. Now you're catching the, as I like to say, public trendy dog. You're catching that hype. You're catching what I'm seeing on social media. My question to you, usually on fight night, all the big dogs, all the suitcases, all the real money starts flocking in. Which way do you see this number going Saturday night?
I think it's going to lean towards Nunes. I think all the big money, the duffel bag guys, everybody coming into Vegas, they're going to put heavy money on Amanda. I think we're going to see the bets of the 500,000 to win whatever on Amanda Nunes. You're going to see $1 million on Amanda Nunes. You're going to see a lot of heavy money coming late on Amanda. And I think right now, if you're going to bet Amanda, the time is now and the time is tomorrow. Overall, historically in the UFC, you see the favorites become bigger favorites. And you see the dogs become bigger dogs because people are chasing. The public is looking for that sure bet, so to say. And they look at UFC and they say, oh, this guy's a minus 300 favorite, or this guy's a minus 400 favorite. And they just lay the money on there. But Amanda Nunes, like you said, sharps are looking at it like, wow, we are never going to get Amanda Nunes at this price again. And we should take it while we can. And I think all the late money is going to come in on Amanda. And we're going to see the line widen up to maybe Amanda minus 330, minus 320. That's what I just believe is going to happen. Now, something to look at. I want to shift away from UFC 277 for 1 minute because I have a max bet next week. Looking at the August 6th card, we have Vincente Lucay versus Jeff Neal. I want everybody to get in on this early because the line will move and has already moved. Vincente Lucay, I locked in at minus 165. I believe he's at minus 170 to 175 right now at different books. And he's a fighter that has a clear advantage in this spot. I think we saw his last fight come against Bilal Muhammad. Vincente Lucay was on an absolute roll, rolling through opponents. He beat Michael Chiesa. He was finishing different fighters. He ran into Bilal Muhammad, who was a fighter that knows how to game plan specifically for their opponents. He was able to take him down. He was able to grind out a victory. I don't think that's the case here with Jeff Neal. Vincente Lucay has a very, very clear advantage on the feet, and Jeff Neal does not have the abilities to take this fight to the ground. He does not have as strong of wrestling as a Bilal Muhammad or other fighters that we've seen in the past. I think Vincente Lucay in this spot should be priced at around minus 250, and you can get him at minus 165 to minus 170 in different spots. We saw Jeff Neal win a razor-close decision against Santiago Ponzinibbio, and in that fight overall, I didn't see anything that I liked. Jeff Neal is a fighter that's durable. He's strong, but he's not a fighter of Vincente Lucay's caliber, and I think Lucay finishes him in this fight. And lock in that bet now before the line moves because I believe we will see Lucay close at around minus 180 to minus 190.
I saw that opening at 190. The initial money did come. Actually, it's kind of tricky. It was 190 for Lucay and Jeff Neal at plus 140. The actual now lines, you're looking at around a minus 170 for Lucay and Neal at around plus 150.
Nice. Yeah. And I jumped in at 165. I think if you're going to jump in, you could take the 170. I love taking him in this spot. This is a spot where I know I'm not going to be able to come on next week because it's just a smaller card. But overall, I want the general public to know that Vincente Lucay is such a good bet next week. And he's a fighter that I'm all in on going into next Saturday.
So am I.
Now, moving on, we have Alexander Pantojo versus Alex Perez. This is a very, very high caliber fight. It's, Alex Perez prospect. He's had a lot of nice victories. He's been submitted by Davidson Figueiredo. Alexander Pantoja on the flip side, He will have an advantage on the ground in this fight, Alexander Pantoja. They're both high-level fighters. You're looking at a top 5 fighter against a top 7 fighter. I personally have Pantoja as a top 3 fighter in the world right now in his division. I think he has an advantage on the ground, and I think he will be able to get this fight to the ground. At minus 170 to 175, I believe he's at right now, depending on the book you're looking at. Pantoja is a fighter that I like, and I'm using in a parlay piece. If for example, you're liking Amanda Nunes, but you don't want to lay a minus 265 or a minus 270 on Nunes, you could parlay it with Alexander Pantoja, and that'll get you plus money at like plus 105 or plus 110, if I'm not mistaken. And overall, Pantoja will have a clear advantage on the ground in this fight. I believe he will get it there. He's live for a submission, and he's live to just dominate this fight overall on the ground. I think Alex Perez is still, building up, and he's too young. But this level of competition that he's faced, we saw against Figueiredo, we saw against different fighters, that he is evolving, but he's not evolving to the level of Alexander Pantoja or Vincente Figueiredo or Brandon Moreno and those level of fighters. I think Pantoja is a great parlay piece to use if you want to parlay with Amanda Nunes to get plus money this weekend. I highly recommend doing that.
So they're showing 24-5 versus 24-6. Now, are those? They haven't fought 30 times each in the UFC, have they?
No. It's a lot of regional, like they fought in the regional scene. Alex Perez is a Dana White Contender Series alumni. There's just a lot of pro fights before leading up to the UFC. They fought a lot of different caliber fighters. Overall, the tougher competition has been faced by Pantoja, and that's why you see him as a favorite here. He should have the ground advantage, like I said. He could get this to the ground, and he could possibly submit him. I like him at minus 170. I think overall he's just better in almost every aspect of MMA, and we will see that this weekend. So if you like Pantoja and you like Nunes, parlay them together, put them together. I think it's a great parlay. You're going to get plus money there, and it's a good bet.
All righty.
And that's it for me on this betting card. There's a lot of different spots. You have Derek Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich. That's an interesting fight to me. Both fighters, it's priced at around a pick 'em. Both fighters have insane knockout power. They're both very strong. I'm staying away from that fight. I think there's a couple other fights on the card where you look at they're priced, right in my opinion. Most fights most times are priced correctly, and it's just my job to try to find value that I think I see in the market. And overall, I think those are my best spots to pick for this card. And I like the Nunes side. I like the Pantoja side. I like under 1.5 rounds in the Michael Morales Adam Fugit fight. Just to recap, and I absolutely love Vincente Lucay next week.
So as before we close, I think when I was growing up, Zayd, fight night for me obviously wasn't in an octagon. It was, a big heavyweight fight. I mean, I go way, way back before you were even born, to the Sugar Ray Leonards, the Marvin Haglers, the Tommy Hearns, and then we get to the Mike Tysons, the Evander Holyfields. Boxing is, for me, has taken a left turn, and UFC is the headliner. And I think it fits where we are in the sports wagering world because the public, the degens, they get a group of guys, all together in the living room. They all throw in $10. They buy the card, and then everyone's going to have action. Can you try to explain to people here the do's and don'ts? I know it's fun to have action on every damn fight. I know, especially if you're playing the prelims, right? And you go 0-4 or 0-5 in the prelims, then you get to the main card and you're doubling and tripling up, chasing that money. Can you give some people some good strategy on really what to do? Because I love the way you broke down this card today. Not only did you break down the card, you explained it to us and you said, hey guys, by the way, make sure you jump on this one for next Saturday.
Yes. And we see it, unfortunately, now you got younger guys my age, people new to sports betting, new to gambling that are seeing these ads on FanDuel, on DraftKings. They're seeing that it's blasted everywhere on TV. You can't go on a channel without there being an ad of sports betting, And a lot of mistakes that we see is, like you said, chasing. That's the most important thing. My biggest rule of gambling, you cannot chase. So like you said, if you go 0-2 or 0-3 on the prelims and then you're chasing with a big favorite on the main card, guess what? When you have 3-4 big favorites on the main card, there's not a question one of them will lose. And you're going to probably be on the wrong end of that decision. So overall, not chasing your losses don't panic. Live to fight another day is the most important thing I'd say. Having bankroll management is huge. I learned at a young age, I learned the hard way about bankroll management, about chasing, about everything, and everybody's going to have to go through that stage in life. They're going to have to learn. I want to explain to people that, guess what? You don't have to lose $5,000 to $10,000 to learn, because we're telling you here now, don't lose that money to learn the hard way. Learn now so you're good for the rest of your life. And guess what? You won't chase those fights. You won't chase those spots. You sit down with a bunch of, I see it all the time, sitting down with my friends, watching the fights. This guy's betting his money on this. He loses. He bets it back. He loses again. He's chasing. Now he's withdrawing from his credit card to place the bet. And it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? And you try to help them and you try to tell them. And it's just, it's hard, and we've seen it with so many people, and we're going to see in the future. That's why I love coming on these shows, talking with guys like yourself and Dave and all these smart guys in the industry, because you guys try to lead the public the right way, telling them what to do, telling them how to bet, teaching them the rules of sports betting, so that way they don't end up bankrupt, they don't end up broke, and they don't end up feeling bad.
Couldn't have said it any better than that. Thank you.
Yes.
The scroller, excuse me, the scroller's been going the whole time. Everyone watching and listening can follow you at Zayd_Hussein, at Sports Grid, at Sports Grids TV, at Fansided. We can't thank you enough. Like I said, what I really appreciate the most, not only obviously it's your birthday, you're here taking time out of it to give us some leans and some winners. You reach out, you give us a winner for hopefully next week as well. Can you update someone like myself on when the next big card is again, like the headliners?
The next for this weekend?
No. After this weekend, we got 2 title fights. Obviously, Amanda's on one of them. When is like the next big fight coming?
UFC 278 will be big. My card that I'm looking forward to the most, and this is the biggest card of the year, unfortunately, it's like 2-3 months out, UFC 280. We have Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira. Big fight there. Islam Makhachev opened as around -220 favorite, if I'm not mistaken. Right now it's down to -176. Everybody, the general public, is all over Charles Oliveira in this fight. They believe that he is the favorite, and it's the wrong line. I disagree. We have in that card, we have Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady. Very, very big clash. We have the UFC is just so exciting because, like you said, with boxing, you saw back in the day, the best fought the best. The UFC, it's the best fighting the best. We put on the best cards, the best fights that everybody wants to see. With boxing, you don't see that now. You see Ryan Garcia fighting a nobody when he should be fighting Tank Davis. You see Tank Davis fighting a nobody when he should be fighting Devin Haney. You see this person fighting that person. You don't see the best on the best. In UFC, we have the best versus the best every single week. And Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira is the number one fight in the world that everybody wants to see, and we're going to see that UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi, and that's a fight card I can't wait for. We have Nate Diaz, Hamzat Chimaev in a month or so. We have so many different fights. There's so many good fights coming up. We're going to see John Jones back in the octagon before the end of the year, I believe. We're going to see so many big fighters and so many big fights over the next coming couple of months, and I just can't wait to break it down and come on the show and chat with all you fine people.
When is the date for UFC 280? Do they have one yet?
They do. Let me give you the exact date. I believe it is October 22nd. I can double check for you. UFC 280. October 22nd in Abu Dhabi. Yes. And then we have UFC 278, just to give you the exact date of that card as well. August 20, UFC 278, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. That is a huge fight as well. I was at that press conference as well, which was a great presser. They had those back to back. They had the Adesanya conference and they had the Usman conference the next day. So it's very exciting.
So we're going to give you 3 weeks heads up notice for UFC 278. And then after that, we're going to give you a 5-week notice for UFC 280. How's that?
Sounds great. Can't wait to come back on. Thank you so much.
The one and only Zayd Hussein. Thank you so much. And everyone watching and listening, you can follow him at Zayd_Hussein. Catch his work at Sports Grid TV, and at Fansided. We can't thank you enough. He gave us all his lanes for this week and one for next week, and then you'll be back with us in 3 weeks. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching and listening. tell a friend, retweet, have some fun, and we will see you soon.